Hi everybody, Doug and Alea here, and in this session we want to talk about intimacy. Have you ever noticed how when somebody wants to get intimate with you, you start to feel uncomfortable? Like you're feeling like your space is being squeezed or maybe you're getting full? And this happens to a lot of people, and it certainly has happened to me in my life. And the reason it has to do with your childhood upbringing. If you grew up in a loving, emotionally safe family, your ability to form intimate adult relationships will be much stronger. But on the other hand, if you grew up in a family where you were emotionally invalidated and you were emotionally unsafe, then you didn't learn to trust other people at an emotional level. And so your ability to form deep, intimate bonds in adulthood might be impaired. So it all goes back to how you were programmed as a child, as almost everything does when it comes to emotions. Now, the good news is that you can, from my perspective and with my experience, you can correct all of this. It's not cast in concrete, but what you have to do is learn how to develop your own emotional safety. And the way you develop your own emotional safety is by getting very familiar with your emotions and master your own emotional experiences. The way that I teach this to my students and to my clients is to teach them this process that we've called affect labeling, where you literally name the emotions that another person is experiencing. As you do that, as you engage in that practice, you build up your own emotional vocabulary. While you're validating the other person, you are creating an emotional database for yourself that allows you to be more in touch with your emotional experience. And over a period of time, 3 to 4 months, as you gain more emotional competency, you will start to feel emotionally safe. And you will overcome the fear of emotional intimacy that was bred into you as a child. You will find that your relationships will become deeper and more intimate. The big issue is just whether or not you want to commit the time and effort to learning how to do that, how to affect label and how to build your own emotional resiliency so that you can create the emotional safety for yourself. Alea, what's your take on this?
I love that perspective, and I'm going to bring in my own angle of, from my perspective, we are souls riding in the body, and our body is a nature spirit, kind of like an animal. And our body, one of the primary needs our body has, like Doug said, is safety. And when we're children, babies, and we experience a level of closeness, connection with the parents, the body feels that, and it'd be like, ooh, that feels safe. And so it references that safety and links that experience of safety and support and love and equates it with intimacy. So it's almost like this, your body has this fabric that it's familiar with the intimacy, the safety. And intimacy isn't always the sexual component, right? We have intimacy with friends, we have intimacy with colleagues, and it can just be this dynamic sharing of ideas, being creative with each other. If you're a musician and you're playing music with another person, there's a level of intimacy there. When you're in a session for therapy or self-awareness, building self-awareness, there's a level of intimacy. So we have intimacy in so many different areas of our life. When we're eating a meal with somebody, there's an intimacy there. Going on a walk, experiencing weather together in the rainstorm. And so when we're talking about intimacy, we're really talking about there's this closeness, there's a sense of safety, and your body has a familiarity with a certain amount of intimacy, safety that is experienced when it was a baby, when it was a child. But then when you get older, we typically aren't expanding that because the closest that we typically are, and this varies from person to person, but we would think our parents are the first person where we experience a level of intimacy, our family circle. And then when you go into high school, right, wherever it might be, college, you will experience a certain level of intimacy with people, but not always as deep. And if you do experience a deeper level of intimacy with someone that's deeper than what you experienced when you were a baby or a child, your body is going to have an unconscious reaction. It's an unconscious, emotional, energetic reaction where it actually goes into a fight or flight because it's experiencing something that's very unfamiliar, a depth of intimacy that it didn't experience as a child. And if you're in high school or you're in college and there are substances involved, like you've had a beer, or a glass of wine, or something other, that will actually dampen the fight or flight response that your body's having. And so then you'll get more comfortable experiencing a level of intimacy after you've had the glass of wine or the beer, or more than that. And so that kind of overrides it. But in a totally sober moment, if you experience that same level of intimacy that you did the night before, your body could have a reaction to it. So that's why everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people, they engage in something to kind of soften it. But we want to be really conscious about intimacy and building a stronger container for intimacy. And there's lots of different ways to do it. Doug was talking about emotional awareness, emotional competency with yourself, being comfortable with your emotions. And I have a tool that I use to help people get more comfortable with intimacy. And that is, we're working specifically with the body. And we're encouraging the body to feel a vibration of safety within itself, almost like a vibrational fabric that wraps around the body. The body, from my perspective, has a divine line that runs through the spine, the spinal cord. And in that divine line of the body, there can be a current, a vibration of safety that the body can actually start cultivating. So your body is becoming more conscious, more engaged in its energetic process. And there are these energetic protocols that I do in my daily cups, in the work that I do in my classes, to help your body activate a stronger current of safety in its divine line, divine cosmic loop. And then as your body starts to reference that safety more inside itself, then it starts getting more comfortable with intimacy, because anytime we experience intimacy, it can actually trigger not feeling safe if it's deeper than what you've experienced before. So when you think about intimacy, think about how can you cultivate more safety inside yourself, either by holding that in your own divine line, you as the etheric soul, encouraging your body to do it, and then also developing the skill set of being comfortable with your emotions, naming your emotions, being aware of your emotions, holding a space for your emotions to literally be energy and motion, vibration, helping you shift your vibration into a higher consciousness, into a more harmonic way of being.